This is the Zeekr X, and Tesla's in trouble. It's got a 66 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery that produces a range of about 410 kilometers WLTP on a single charge. And the car also comes in two configurations, one a rear wheel drive and two an all wheel drive. So there's a motor in front and behind. And as for numbers on this car, wait, let me check. Let me double check actually, because I can't believe the stats myself. The top speed is 190 kilometers. And check this out. This rear wheel drive comes with a 200 kilowatt motor at the back that spins the rear wheels and pushes the car forward with 343 Newton meters, which does, listen to this, a 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds. What? And then here's the icing on top. This car is also available in an all-wheel drive, which means there's an additional front motor that adds 115 kilowatt power more into the already 200 kilowatt car, which boosts the torque to 543 Newton meters. And that means a 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. What? Anyway, but let me back up a bit and tell you the story about Zeekr. The underpinning of this car is actually from Geely, which by the way is the parent company for Lotus, Volvo, Polestar, Smart, and now this all-new premium electric brand is Zeekr. The name Zeekr is actually an acronym where Z stands for zero, where basically infinite possibilities. E stands for this drive towards evolving electric era that we're heading towards. And KR, my favorite, stands for Krypton. You know, Superman's home planet. Haha, just kidding. It's actually a rare gas that emits light when electrified. And they've created an almost open source platform called the Sustainable Experience Architecture, SEA for short, between the brands, and this one in particular shares with its more budget-friendly Smart number 1 and 3, but also a more premium car that just rolled out, the Volvo EX30. Psst, even the Lotus Electra and Emea uses other variations of the SEA platform. As for practicality of this car, the clearance on this is 191 mm. Pretty damn good. The boot is a modest 362 liters, and the front also has a frunk, though it's just 15 liters in capacity and barely has much room to it. It does have a very nifty under floor where you can put in maybe a shoe or two and your tire mobility kit at its best. The boot, however, can be extended via folding down the rear seats to 1,182 liters, which is more than enough to move big cargo. I think they really focus more on rear passenger comfort. And as for charging on this car, located at the back, it's got a CCS Type 2 port, so basically AC and DC. And the company claims 30 minutes for a 10 to 80% at 150 kilowatts, which this car can gobble up. But that's probably not too realistic for us. You know, charging times vary. What's more realistic though is a 7.2 or a 11 kilowatt fast AC charger that this car can actually accept, which will bring down charge times to about 7-8 hours, basically an overnight. Zeekr Nepal do provide a 7.2 kilowatt fast AC charger, so you have that covered. You can also charge this car with a 3 kilowatt granny fast AC charger, but that will probably take you a whole 22 hours to fill up that 66 kilowatt hour battery. Anyway, enough of me talking. Now, let me hop onto the driver's seat and see what this car is all about. So saying this is a quick car is honestly an understatement. It's like a sleeper build. You really don't see its performance. It easily just camouflages in everyday traffic. But then you put your foot down and it begins to flex. And it can really flex. As for driving modes on this car, you have a mix of comfort, standard, and sport mode. And let me tell you, all three of them are fast. Like I am right now, probably in comfort mode, foot down, and the car just picks up. But then when you put your car into sports mode and activate all of that 200 kilowatt, that 300 plus newton meter of torque, foot down, and the car just instantly zooms past anything and everything. It easily pushes you back in your seat and you are off to triple digit speeds without anything. Just as quick as this car gets going, this car also comes to a dead stop as easily. There is two modes of regeneration and also a creep and a standstill mode, where it's almost equivalent to like one pedal driving you get on the Nissan Leaf. And regenerative braking is quite good. Like it's not so strong, it just pushes you back to your seat every time or lurches you forward, but it does do a very good job. Coupled with the 4 disc brakes on each wheel, this car has honestly a very commendable, not just 0 to 100 speed, but also 100 to 0 speed. Zeekr claimed that this car stops from 100 to a dead stop in just 34.5 meters, which for reference is a Creta. The same speed takes 38 meters, so a good 4 meters ahead of that, with tons of more power and acceleration. The shocks on this are tuned for the stiffer side because, again, you want to handle all that body roll when it comes to like higher speed bends. You don't want to be like lurching inside the cabin, but it's supple and it's ample. The rebound and the coils, they are quite good in handling these uneven roads, these potholes. It's only when things get very out of control that vibrations are passed on to the passenger on the inside. And what I'm really enjoying about driving this car is this steering wheel. It's a bit flat bottomed on the top and at the bottom and feels more spherical than circular, but it's got just the right amount of weight to it. You can change the steering wheel configuration in between light and heavy depending on your speed and your like comfort, normal, and sport. That just changes the sensitivity of the wheel and a bit of the weight, but I feel like it's really finely tuned for both city driving as well as a bit of high-speed driving. The one thing though I do want to point out though is that the driving position, I am now at the highest driving seat configuration, and I can just about see like a very tiny curvature of the bonnet in front, but nothing more than that. Unfortunately, it's not one of those commanding city type vehicles where you can have a good view ahead and see where your wheels are basically. Luckily, the good point about that is that because this is a decent size SUV, your mirrors will directly tell you where your rear wheels are, and you do have like a dedicated touchscreen button to show your front as well as your rear. And I feel like this is the sort of thing that makes all the difference when it comes to driving in cities like Kathmandu, in these highly densely populated areas. You will have to get used to the car configurability, maneuverability when it comes to driving with judgment rather than through just vision. But once you get accustomed to it, it's really well. And what the cherry on top to me for this car was the 191 mm of ground clearance. Is almost SUV segment, like pretty much SUV segment level clearance that Zeekr Nepal have provided for the Model X here. And because of that, you have inclination angles, different bumps, speed breakers like this that just pass by. You really don't have to worry about the battery bottoming out at the bottom. So as for exteriors on the Zeekr X, it's sleek, it's fast-paced, and it's contemporary. We'll start off from the front. You have your bonnet that opens up. Let's close this. Your Zeekr logo in metallic. One of your 360 cameras. Your headlight unit is here, but you have a double-edged LED light at the top. Overall, it's just a very curved aerodynamic look at the front if you look at it, especially from this angle right here. The front just tapers off really nicely. And the wheel here in Nepal, the tires are Continental tires, so you know they're good. The wheel size is 235/50 R19s. The cars abroad though also get this in a 20-inch rim that's a bit bigger and have thinner tire walls. I think it's 245/45 R20s. I'm not sure about the number though, but anyhow, great tires, very sticky on the road. And moving to the side, you have your side lights, but also automatically adjustable, heated, and mirrors that dip down automatically. Do you hear that? That's actually the animation. You have flush door handles here that just open. It's all a sensor, by the way. Cars abroad also have an intelligent feature here where they show the different modes the car is in, including pet mode. Quite cool. But frameless mirrors here. Really sleek unibody, a two-tone upper black and lower body paint with more black highlight on the outside. You also have these really strong abstract contour lines starting from the A pillar here all the way back to the C pillar. Fun fact, this is a fixed panoramic sunroof, and gone are the days of even having a shark fin antenna. Like what? You at the back here have your charger port. This rear C pillar looks very bulky and like very masculine to me at least. At the back you have a boneless wiper. You have a tiny light bar there and a long tail bar at the back with a very prominent Zeekr logo here. Your 360 camera here, also on the mirrors if you noticed. And fun fact, this rear tail light has 229 LEDs and the one at the front has 56. Quite amazing. Coming towards the bottom, you have your Zeekr X logo there, and you have parking sensors, also a tow hook at the back, and then vertical strips here, and very edgy, sharp cut rear light that cuts the C pillar. So here's your key fob. It's basically a square tile. Feels quite light, but definitely feels premium even through the plastic. And you have a lock button, a car park button, a boot button, and an unlock button where the handles flush in. So checking out the interiors, you have these frameless doors both at the front and at the back. You should catch the windows opening and closing. It's like green tinted glass and very nice finishing on the doors. A bit of perforations. It's like a city skyline. Big, really big bottle holders here that can fit not one but probably multiple bottles here, and definitely more items. Also a very small storage space. You can probably fit in your phone here. You have speakers, your bonnet opening here, your accelerator pedal, dead pedal, and a brake pedal in the middle. Your seat can be adjusted for height basically, and it's all electronic. Your recline angle, and then the reach of the accelerator pedal. There's also a bit of lumbar support built into the front seats, which is quite a nice touch. You don't see most cars with that. But moving into the cabin now, closing the door, and you really get a nice posh interior on this car, which you really need to otherwise pay a bucket load of money for. There are actually so many gadgets in here that even I'm a bit troubled about what to highlight and what to not highlight. And while I mentioned that right at the beginning, it's something something that challenges a Tesla. This interior, though, I think is very well thought out. In fact, even more well thought out than that of a Tesla. Zeekr called this an intelligent cabin. Starting with the driver's seat, you have toggles on the left hand side and on the right hand side. You have a 8.8 inch driver's display right in front of you, which shows the bare minimum: your media, your mode, here your speed and your range till empty, your temperature outside, the time of day, just basic information, just the right amount of information. And then the rest is on this bigger 14-inch touchscreen. Your steering wheel also has, with a knob down there, a reach. It's basically telescopic, where you can figure out your driving position. It's a push to open the door, by the way, and this feels really nice, premium and clicky. The windows, if you're worried about this button not working later on in case your battery dies, there is like a pull tab lever down here which opens the door too. Good premium stitching here on the soft touch point where you put your arms. The Zeekr also comes with a bit of like plastic but posh looking sort of design here, perforations on the dashboard here, and then a 14 speaker, really crisp Yamaha audio. Speaking of which, this car does come with seat ventilation at the front. And then your adjustment can not just be done with the toggles at the side of the chair I showed you, but also the front screen, also the lumbar support. And it's basically leatherette PVC sort of finishing here. You do have a grippy wireless 50-watt charger. Oh yeah, the electronic chargers on this device are all hypercharged, just like this motor that I was talking about. 50-watt wireless charger here, 27-watt normal USB charger there, and then get a load of this, a 60-watt USB-C charger there on the other side, which is also your connection. I have my phone connected there. You also have a bag holder there, and then you have like a quick cubby down here. I've put in all my wires at the moment. This center armrest is transformable. You can take it up and down, and you can move this. You have a cup holder here, which you actually can take out completely. Like, that's cool. And then putting it back in is a bit of a challenge. There we go. And then you can actually wrap it up and close it if you don't want anyone snooping around. So I'm gonna keep all of my equipment there, close it. Your car seat also does have a very deep, I didn't expect that, sort of center cubby. This, by the way, is actually a mini fridge, chiller, cooler, and heater in some markets available, though it's an extra added option. And this entire thing is detachable, like if you want to move this forward and back, or even out. As for the center, you have a really nice sort of finishing on these lights. Comes in both yellow and white, your emergency. And then I don't know what this button does. Can't figure it out. But anyway, your vanity mirrors are quite big on this car, with light strips on each side. You do have an arm grip holder. I think this is the best part. These seats are so soft, like they're finishing, they're just touch to it, really nice. And as for the rear seats on this car, again, same sort of premium, nice, posh, and perforated finishing here. Soft touch points. Yamaha speakers with fairly big bottle holders at the bottom. Also, the rear gets B pillar AC vents on each side. Quite new to this segment. Also, you have this bit of half, I don't know what this is, Zeekr. Can you enlighten me? I imagine you can fit in paper and like light stuff, but anything bigger than that, not sure. But 5'9" is my driving position, and good ample leg room here. Like, shoulder room is also pretty well. Good mirrors here. You do have a coat hanger here, which I thought was a good touch, and this very expansive panoramic sunroof, which is doing a great job of like keeping the afternoon sun out while I shoot this review. Really bulky, nice back seats. It does feel a bit inclined towards the back, and so you do feel like you're a bit more relaxed. Your rear seat occupants do get a armrest with 2 cup holders that fit cups, not bottles, at the back here. And then you do have 2 isofix seating points on each side of the rear seat. Also, as I mentioned, there's like a hook here which you can definitely move and take out this entire rear console, center console piece if you want to. All right, so this car definitely has a lot to offer for everyone. And I'm talking about the daily city commuter to the performance-oriented enthusiast, whether you are driving it on the highway or just office to home daily commutes. It's all there. Very city-centric focus. Features like showing my blind spots whichever way I have my side lights on. I'll be making a right turn up here and it'll show me my right side. Super practical and convenient too. And like I said, it's not just about performance. Zeekr have put in a splash full of performance, but an even bigger splash full of features and just convenient features. Besides that, what I wanted to show was the car also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integrated, and it's honestly quite a very full, well-displayed Apple CarPlay, unlike others where you have things like Spotify opening up pretty easily. I got a notification saying you have distracted driving, which is true. So your car is also paying attention to your needs and whether you are fatigued or not, by the way. That's another cool feature about this car. But I think what I was really impressed about this car was not that it was just made for like roads abroad that are like silky buttery smooth and you can hit cruising speeds of like 3 digits, but a bit of off-road, that good clearance, decent shock absorbers. You can drive it, rough-road it a bit in Nepal too. That was decently a surprise for me in my testing today. Like, wow, I was not expecting that. And I think my biggest takeaway of this car was just the sheer refinement in terms of things like your touch points, your handling. Like, I find it so very comforting to just hold the steering wheel at these bottom corners here. The fact that your infotainment is big and like very responsive to the touch. The cabin insulation on this car, which is much better than what I'd expected. No exterior noises bleeding in. The AC on this for both the front compartment passengers as well as the back feels more than ample. The auto hold on this is probably by far one of the best ones I've tried. It's so seamless. Like you don't even like double think about it when it'll turn on and when it'll turn off. It'll just hold the car in whatever sort of inclination or declination. And the exterior might be polarizing. Some might really love the bold, sharp cut edges on this, while some just might not feel too good about it. But what I want anyone and everyone to take away from this car is that we will always consider Tesla as a benchmark for EVs, regardless of wherever we are in the world. developed country or developing country, it's always that benchmark you want to meet in terms of performance, in terms of quality, in terms of range, you name it. Is it as good as a Tesla is always something that'll be asked. And this EV, the Zeekr X, is definitely one that'll stick up Tesla's alley and challenge it for sure. Anyway, I hope you like this review. Drop me a comment if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you on the next one.